So, my son was diagnosed with bipolar disease on January 2015. In the next 12 months, he had 5 admissions to psychiatric units. I did not know what to do. I did not know who to talk to. I did not even know if I could help my son at all. During that year, I learned a hell of a lot about the mental health system. I found out that my son is an extraordinarily strong person. And I discovered some keys to survival that I wish I had known 12 months earlier. Hopefully, none of you out here will need these keys, but I feel it is my duty to present them. Now, keys to survival, your adult child and mental illness, maybe it can be tolerable. What kind of place is this? You don't think about inpatient psychiatric units until your child is on one. They're loud, they're too goddamn bright, and they're locked. My son was absolutely forlorn looking and grimaced at me every time I came in. And I felt like my heart was shredding. And it's that time that I needed to really realize that he was exactly in the place that he needed to be at that time, around mental health professionals who understood his confusion and fear. You can't do much for your kid when they're in there. Visiting is really limited, and each time you visit, it's very, very awkward. For me, a great way to get rid of awkwardness was food. During one of the visits to my son on the unit, he ate almost an entire loaf of bread and brick of cheese. He recalled to me a little later on that that was the only good thing that happened during that hospital stay. Small things have great opportunity. Your child is an adult, and you are not entitled to any hospital information unless they give you their consent. You are not even allowed to know if your child has been admitted to a facility. That really sucks. Yes, the health privacy laws, HIPAA, have been designed to protect privacy, but they really interfere with communication between you, your child, and the treatment team. It's infuriating. But there is some good news. The good guys. There are people who will interpret the regulations with the goal of opening communication between you and your child. The treatment team needs and wants you to participate in planning. This team is the key part of your loved one's success in the hospital and after discharge. Learn the first names of all the people on that team. And seriously consider sending donuts in the morning and coffee and pizza for lunch. I'm a retired RN, and I can tell you this, healthcare professionals run on carbohydrates. Back to school. You do not have a knowledge base for this journey that you're on. One of the best resources for solid information is the National Alliance of Mental Illness, NAMI. Their position is that mental illness is no more shameful than any other chronic disease. In fact, that's all it is. It's just a disease. They're an organization that educates and advocates for those with mental illness and their families. I've been to one of their 12-week training sessions where we worked all together. I think there were 8 or 9 couples there in various stages of mental illness themselves, but mostly it was loved ones, and I learned so much. Now, there's this thing called the internet, and it is a wealth of information. No filters, no editors, nobody to say, stop, don't say that. When searching, be aware that the ratio of oddly interesting to truly good information is about 9-to-1 on a good day. Be a discerning researcher. The most important job you'll ever have. You are your child's strongest advocate and have a lifetime of information about them. Getting that information to the treating team is essential. Also essential is knowing who takes care of your child. The doctors are busy and have huge caseloads, and unfortunately, they probably spend the least amount of time with your child during their stay. Social workers do an immense amount of work planning for the discharge. But if you really want to know what's going on with your son or daughter while they're in the hospital, talk to the RNs, the LPNs, and the aides, because they are with your child 24/7. That's a lot more time than you have spent with them in the 5 years prior to their admission, I can guarantee you that. Also, keep a list of questions, because health professionals don't know what you don't know. And if you don't get the answer that makes sense to you, continue to ask. This is one of those instances when being a squeaky wheel is going to serve you very well. Chemicals. Medications are the key to treatment. You just can't fight that. Your child probably won't want to take them. No surprise there. And this is, for me, one of the most challenging aspects of care. Your son or daughter does not care how fervently you extol the virtues of any medication, because they don't care. They're being told to do something. You would probably ask the same way. Patience is the only tool you have. My son refused medications for 11 months, but now makes it a point to get to his mental health appointments and prescriptions on time, every 2 weeks. Why? He experienced the benefits of his medications firsthand, and I could not have done that for him. But I had to live through that excruciating wait. It was worth it. Being there and being real. Embrace empathy for your child. Your son or daughter did not suddenly become mentally ill. The process, as I found out looking back, took years, and they're immensely troubled by this crash in the middle of their life. Let your child know that you understand their fear and confusion, but above all, let them know, even in the midst of their anger, that you will be there for them. Do that. When things get tense, learn how to back off. That's a tough thing for an ex-health professional to do when it's your son. Once I was tired and frustrated with him, and I didn't know what to do. He said to me, "Dad, I know you're confused, but there's not much I can do for you." Thanks. My favorite, the midnight roller coaster. In these months, weeks, years, whatever it's going to be, you'll feel despair and sadness, followed quickly by relief and optimism, and then cycle around through it all again in 30 minutes. But mostly, you'll feel inadequate. You'll awaken in the deep night, and your brain will assemble every bad scenario it can. 1,000 things you should have or shouldn't have done will cross your mind and park right in the middle of it. Don't lie awake thinking. Get up, read, do a crossword, fold some of that underwear that's been in the basket for a week. Write your thoughts in a journal. You do have a journal, right? All right. Anything to quiet your mind. I found great comfort in reciting the Serenity Prayer over and over and over until I fell asleep. You all knew it. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. You have to say that about 1,000 times before it starts to sink in. That what it's really saying is that truly you have no control over what is happening. The only thing you can change is how you react to it. Now, that may not be a comforting thought, but it's the truth. Awareness. Your understanding of the mentally ill will increase dramatically. Untreated mental illness is a burden that is poorly recognized and harshly misunderstood. You'll meet amazing people who have overcome challenges that would bring most of us to our knees. I found that my son is one of the bravest people I've ever known. This year has disassembled him and reassembled him. Last year at this time, he was hospitalized, probably for the third time. This year he has a job and a car and wants a girlfriend. I don't know what to say to her when she comes up. He's a good boy, a loving boy. The compassion that you manifest will make you and the world better. Hold this truth deeply. Your child is not defined by their disease. Never say he or she is bipolar or is schizophrenic or whatever. Yes. The kernel of who they are is still inside them. A sad flaw of brain chemistry masks it. In spite of your fear and disappointment, never lose the truth that your child didn't wish this and can't snap out of it. Their lives have changed forever, and your acceptance of them is vitally important. Again, be there all the time for them. Openings. Tonight's presenters, you people, once felt as frightened and confused as you may feel sometime. Each of them has known loss and the ugly stigma that mental illness carries now. By opening their hearts to you, they now feel strong and healed and freer. You can find the light in the darkness if you are in a dark place. Lean on those who offer power. Open your heart to hope and acceptance. Find your brave and share it. Thank you.